Hello, I'm Ann Green, and welcome to We've Got Books. I'm coming to you from the Dallas area of the great state of Texas, where we have friendly people, country music, and cowboys. Here at We've Got Books, we discuss great Christian fiction. We feature guest authors and their books, as well as my own books. We'll sit around the table chatting to get to know real authors and what we write. So today, I'm interviewing Catrina Whitehead, an author of a galaxy of genres. But before we get to the nitty-gritty of the book we're discussing, I'm sure our listeners would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me, Anne. I'm a pastor's wife, mother of 4 grown children, and a California attorney. I've been in practice for more than 3 decades, primarily in real property, agricultural, and business law. The law can be static, but the fun is learning about clients' diverse businesses. I've represented farmers, business owners, and people in some very unusual industries. Over time, you pick up a lot of strange trivia, like discovering that busy as a bee isn't really accurate. Pollinators actually have fairly relaxed work habits, even some loose work ethics.
That's really funny. I love trivia as well. So besides practicing law, being a pastor's wife, raising children, and we all know that job is never done, and writing books, do you have any time for anything else? Do you have any hobbies?
I have an undergrad degree in computer applications and systems, but I'm also a trained classical pianist. I love combining those worlds to create soundscapes that I play live with a Christian contemporary band.
You are overflowing with talent. Classical piano. I love it. With all that talent spilling from your fingertips, how long have you been writing?
A very long time if you count legal writing. Some people might even accuse that of occasionally bordering on fiction. My legal writing and my fiction writing have certainly both informed one another. My latest novel is a legal suspense novel. But one thing that was unexpected to me is I think I've become a better legal writer as a result of my fictional writing.
I'm sure that is true. When writing fiction, a writer must know the craft of writing, and that means writing her best. What sort of Christian fiction do you write?
I actually started writing by authoring in-depth Bible studies that I led for many years at our church. One of the women in that study was a published author and encouraged me to try fiction. I started doing that around 2018 or 2019. Most of my recent writing is not overtly Christian, but all of it is clean. Much of it is Christian adjacent. I also seem incapable of sticking with a single genre. In the past couple of years, I've written A Fresh Look at the Nativity, a book about a woman enticed into corporate espionage, a cozy mystery with life lessons pouring from a haunted tea room, and most recently, a legal suspense novel that I'm currently working to expand into a series.
All of them sound intriguing. I'm sure if you're a new writer to our listeners, they will want to read all your books. Well, let's get to the book we are discussing today. The first book in your Legal Insanity series called The Caviar Caper. I think the listeners would like you to read the back cover of your book.
Oh, no problem. Here it is. Skylar Ashford thought making partner was the dream, until the dream turned on her. Fresh out of law school and hungry to prove herself, Skylar steps into the prestigious law firm of Wagner, Tibbs, and Cobbs with nothing but grit, ambition, and a belief that hard work pays off. Her first client, Ben Akers, a charming aqua farm entrepreneur, drops her into the world of California caviar production. As Skylar digs into the mystery of Ben's recent business woes, she uncovers more than anyone anticipated and finds herself caught in something much bigger and far more dangerous than legal briefs and billing hours. Surviving a harrowing ordeal causes her to reevaluate everything she thought she wanted. The more she sinks into life in big law, the more she realizes the mob isn't the only predator in the water. Back at the firm, nothing is as it seems. Behind polished doors lie buried scandals, impossible expectations, senior partners with sharp smiles and sharper secrets, shifting loyalties, lack of empathy, and toxic billable hours grind. As Schuyler tries to keep her head above water and navigate the firm's culture, she must decide whether climbing the ladder is worth losing herself entirely. Gritty, intelligent, and emotionally charged, Legal Insanity, The Caviar Caper is a legal thriller that asks, how much are you willing to sacrifice for success? And what if you finally stop saying yes?
I'd love to hear some details about the Caviar Caper.
Okay, the main character, Schuyler, has just graduated from law school. She spent 3 years putting aside everything to pursue her JD and get an offer from a top-ranked law firm. When she starts the position, it's not what she expected. There's crushable billing pressure, cutthroat competition, high expectations. It's hard for her to tell who's on her side, if anyone. She's desperately trying to understand the corporate culture where the motto is, you eat what you kill. Most of that is taken from what I've actually observed at large law firms. It's the reason I write under a pseudonym. I wouldn't want to cross-pollinate my law practice with my fiction writing, particularly if the client might worry that I actually have the gray ethics of some of the lawyers in the book, or think that I might use a client story for a plot concept.
I'm sure there is a huge learning curve and eye-opening. So who is your favorite character in the Caviar Caper?
With the last 4 books I've written, the main character has been a young woman entering into a new season of life and facing a unique set of challenges as a result. I'm drawn to that stage of life where you have so many choices and adventures in front of you, where someone is just beginning their career, suddenly realizes that the world is much more complicated than they expected. Well, and sprinkled with a little romantic interest too. In Caviar Caper, I also like Bob, the guy from Fish and Game. Bob is understaffed and fighting the good fight against illegal poachers across a myriad of species. He's sort of part geek and part hero.
Actually, the geek hero is my favorite too. Did you learn something during your research?
Most books start with some muse or slice of true life. The Caviar Caper was inspired by an actual case I had involving caviar production. While I can't write about my cases or clients, and the actual caviar case was pretty boring, the case made me aware of the fact that California is a major caviar producer. That surprised me and tickled my imagination. I learned that beluga caviar, the kind you might imagine in a James Bond movie, is mostly myth because it was so overfished that the United States banned imports. Surprisingly, California, and specifically the Sacramento Delta region, produces around 80% of the caviar sold in the United States. It started with a Russian defector who began working with UC Davis. Now, the only thing Russian about U.S. caviar is the name, with many caviar companies using Russian-sounding names as a marketing ploy.
So very interesting. Something to add to my private book of trivia to spice up conversation. Can't wait to work that one in. Your book sounds so interesting. My listeners and I would love for you to read an excerpt.
We didn't get back from lunch until 1:30. I wasn't stupid enough to think I could get away with that on my own any other day, but today I was with Carbone. It was turning into a nice, leisurely first day. That is, as long as I had enough information about aquaculture by the end of the day to hold my own at tomorrow's client meeting. Aquaculture. Yeah, that was the correct term. Not fish farming. I learned that much. Back at my desk, Felicity looked in on me. How'd the firm's new associate lunch go? I took a hard look at her. Another woman. Best friend or staunch enemy? There's no in-between in the legal world, at least not any exception that I'd met yet. Did I want to trust her on my first day? Secretary, not attorney. Informant? I decided to play it safe. We could be chummy later, or not. It was very kind of the partners to take the new associates to such a nice lunch. She chuckled. Have you sized them up yet? I've seen associates come and go, and they give you an impossible billable hours minimum, and you have to scare up work on your own. What do you mean? I work for Mr. Carbone on his cases. She smirked. Until he doesn't have any casework that suits you, or he decides he likes one of the other associates better or something else. Well, then what? You'd better make other friends. Check in with other senior partners to see if they need help. And it's a good way to figure out what type of legal work suits you. Rats, she had a point. Thanks for the tip. Oh, and that's before they tell you to bring in new business. How am I supposed to do that and still make billable hour minimums? She gave me a knowing smile. It's the way to move up the ladder or become irrelevant and replaceable. You're going to hear it soon. You eat what you kill. With that picture of the jungle I'd just been airdropped into, Felicity left. I wasn't sure if that made her a doomsayer or a mentor, but I figured I'd better start logging those hours like every second counted. I'd already whiled away a whole morning. When I logged back into the computer, there were several emails from HR with a stack of forms attached. Tax withholdings, insurance options, malpractice insurance application questions, an employee handbook. By the time I'd finished with them and hunted down Human Resources Department after a couple of wrong terms, it was already 4 o'clock. I took the last hour of the working day for some rudimentary Google searches about caviar production in California. Relieved when the clock indicated 5, I gathered my things and left, exhausted. Walking past the all-male partner photographs down the hallway, they seemed to sneer. They were not impressed. Yet.
Well, that does pique the interest. I can't wait to read the Caviar Caper. What is Caviar Caper's takeaway?
The main character, Skylar, enters the world of Big Law thinking she knows her dream career path, but then she encounters things that make her reconsider what she has to give up for it. Sometimes the hardest lesson about a career isn't the work, it's deciding what you're willing to sacrifice for success.
That's a lesson we all have to learn at some point in our lives. And what is Caviar Caper's theme?
This legal suspense centers around the central theme of a tension between ambition and integrity in a competitive legal environment, both the law and in caviar production. Skylar has to determine whether climbing the ladder in a high-pressure legal culture is worth losing herself along the way.
How many books have you written?
It depends on how you classify it, but at least 7.
Is there a movie or TV show reminiscent of Caviar Caper?
Well, one comparison someone made that I liked was Lincoln Lawyer for real estate, because it's more focused on business and real estate from an insider behind the scenes view rather than a public courtroom drama.
Sounds really interesting. Anything else you'd like to tell your listeners?
I'm currently working on a sequel to Caviar Caper in the Legal Insanity series. It's got a working title, Dirt. It involves an intersection between a woman accused of improper disposal of a body, an almond farmer, and current issues in California water law. And it doesn't go where you might think.
We'll be looking for that book. Do you have a website or a newsletter or other social media?
Sure. I have a website at CatrinaWhitehead.com, and that's Catrina with a C, where you could sign up for a newsletter. I'm always happy to answer reader questions. I also post regularly about my current book, Legal Suspense in the Writing Process, under my author name, Catrina Whitehead, on Facebook and X, as well as on Pinterest. The current book, Legal Insanity, The Caviar Caper, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and I just found out on Walmart, too. Reviews are so important. So if you read it, a review, even just quick stars, would mean so much.
Sounds like great places for listeners to go. And yes, I'd like to echo that we writers do need our books reviewed, especially on Amazon. We appreciate every single review we receive. Once again, our time has sped by, so we say goodbye from deep in the heart of Texas and hope you've enjoyed your visit with us as much as we loved having you. Join us next week when we guest spotlight multi-award-winning author Anne Green. Yes, that's me. About one of my great suspense books, Shadow of the Dagger. Also, don't forget to go to buzzsprout.com. That's BUZZSPROUT.com and enjoy some of our 50 other podcasts with different authors. You're sure to discover a new author to you or your favorite author's newest book. So this is Anne Green with Catrina Whitehead saying goodbye for now, and read a good book for education, entertainment, or pure escapism. And we hope you'll choose a book you learned about on one of our podcasts. See you next time.